Trump's golf course redesign, a legal and preservation challenge, a clash between economic development and historic protections. The redevelopment of East Potomac Golf Links in Washington, D.
spearheaded by former President Donald Trump, has ignited a legal dispute centered on the balance between economic development and the preservation of historically significant public lands. This challenge represents a critical test of federal regulations concerning public recreation spaces and their protection under historic preservation statutes.
The situation underscores the potential for legal conflict when ambitious development projects intersect with established public access rights and legacy preservation efforts.
Navigating federal regulatory frameworks and historical significance. The core conflict, economic ambition vs. preservation mandate. The lawsuit, filed by local golfers and supported by the D.C. Preservation League, strategically leverages multiple federal statutes, including the National Environmental Policy Act, the National Historic Preservation Act, and the Administrative Procedure Act, to challenge the project's legality.
Specifically, the plaintiffs argue that the proposed redevelopment fails to adequately address the significant historical context of the courses, established in 1897 by a congressional act that mandated their continued use as public recreation spaces. The legal team is seeking a temporary halt to the project to allow for a comprehensive environmental and historical review, highlighting the potential for violations of established protections governing public land and historic sites, a critical point of contention given the project's scope.
Strategic analysis, the stakes of a landmark decision, unpacking the legal arguments and potential precedents. The central strategic argument revolves around the interpretation of federal regulations and their application to privately driven development projects on publicly owned land. The lawsuit's success hinges on demonstrating that the federal approvals granted for the redevelopment were improperly issued, failing to adequately consider the historical significance and public access implications of the courses.
Further, the plaintiff's assertion that the project's ambition a open-caliber course designed for major tournaments fundamentally contradicts the original intent of the land as a community recreation space represents a powerful counter-narrative.
The potential for a court ruling setting a precedent for the redevelopment of federally protected recreation spaces nationwide, impacting not just Washington, D.C., but potentially the entire United States, elevates this dispute to a matter of broader public policy.
Verdict and projection, a battleground for public access, anticipating long-term consequences and strategic responses. The ultimate outcome of this legal challenge will likely determine the trajectory of recreation and development in Washington, D.C., and potentially serve as a benchmark for similar projects nationwide.
While Trump's administration emphasizes the potential economic benefits of the redevelopment, including the hosting of major tournaments and a projected influx of business, the legal opposition highlights the enduring value of preserving historically significant public spaces for community access. A favorable ruling for the plaintiffs would significantly restrict the scope of the project, necessitating a fundamental shift in design and operational strategy.
Conversely, a decision in favor of the redevelopment would likely embolden future efforts to modernize and capitalize on public lands, potentially setting a precedent that prioritizes economic development over historic preservation considerations, a scenario that demands careful monitoring and potential proactive legal challenges moving forward.